Okay, I'm live. Hi guys. Sorry. Sorry about the other stream. That was crazy. I hit the live button and then all of a sudden it just like completely zapped out and then it zapped out and I had to end things and then it was like it was gone and I couldn't go back to the same saved tab. So thank you for bearing with me and coming on over to this new stream. Um, this whole YouTube world is a mess right now. So, welcome everyone. Paige Whitaker, thank you so much for subscribing. I hope you're watching. Hi. So excited to have you guys here. We haven't done an update on the Plath family in a while. And so, Issa Ray says she misses the doggies. You know, it's a beautiful day here in Minnesota, and the doggies are outside. And once I'm done with this live stream, I'm actually going to join them and take them on a walk. So, if it's nice where you're at, try to get outside and enjoy your weather. Even with the way that of this world, we can still enjoy the outdoors and get a breath of fresh air. And I have found for myself that has helped me so much to break up the monotony of being in this world where I feel like every single day is the same. Now, a lot of you have been like, oh, I'm so bored during this time. And I'll admit that my life has not changed because I am still working all around the clock for you guys to bring you new content. And this, we haven't done an update on the Plath family in a minute. And I was thinking about this the other day because, the last time I did an update was Olivia had posted this photo on her Instagram where she was kind of talking about how there was maybe people were worried that she was implying that she and Ethan had split up because she was talking about how her friends had been there for her while she was crying and she was crashing on people's couches. And so people were automatically assuming that like there was something wrong in their relationship. Now, she quickly shot those rumors down, but she actually was interviewed on a podcast called Hey Frazee, and that was uploaded onto YouTube about 3 weeks ago. And I'm not sure if you're actually like, if you follow that podcast, I had never heard of it. It's not a huge like channel. It has about 8,000 subscribers. So I figured since it was a smaller podcast, I would give them some love. I've actually posted the full link to the podcast below. It's about over an hour that the whole podcast takes place. Now Olivia joins them for the bulk of it, but it looks like they did everything via StreamYard. And so at some point her information drops and so they just keep talking. But there was some interesting tidbits of this Welcome to Plathville updates from here. Now, when we last talked about this, we knew that Mariah was living with Ethan and Olivia, but we didn't really understand the circumstances of it. We also had noted that Mariah had been posting, kind of sad things about missing her sisters and, feeling sad about the state of her world. And so we had this inclination that something was going on in the family, but we didn't know what. So Olivia cleared up some stuff. She talked about the rumors related to divorce. She talked about Mariah and Micah and what's going on with Barry and Kim Plath. And she also talked about some stuff about, Kim having what the status of her relationship was with her in-laws and sort of some of the negative effects of doing the show and how that impacted her business. So I am not going to play the full thing for you because I do think that if you want to watch the full interview, you should. But I want to just show you a few clips that should give you some teasers for what is in this full episode. So the first thing we're going to see is she's actually going to talk about the status of her relationship with Ethan and some of the doubts that she has had being married to him and some of the issues they have faced as a young married couple. These two are very young. They both came from the Quiverful movement, being that they were both raised very, very conservatively. Olivia's family has since left this world, but Kim and Barry Plath are still very much ingrained in this world. And both were brought up with this, large families. Women have only the place where women live is in the kitchen and having babies. And as they have broken free from this mindset, obviously on the show, we saw Ethan sort of experiencing life in a completely different way. And we see what happens when a family really keeps children away from the masses and how it can really affect their development. And if you haven't watched my interview with Lilia Tarawa, she is from the Gloria Vale cult. She actually goes into sort of detail about what can happen when you are grow up in this kind of place and like how socially and emotionally stunted you become and how unaware of the wider world you are. So here she is talking about her marriage with Ethan.
Got that down on social media. So is there any truth to that?
I mean, I feel like it's natural for everyone to assume that because even we've looked at it and said like all the odds are stacked against us. We got married really young.
Yeah.
We had very strict dating rules. And so I feel like in many ways we didn't have the opportunity to just get to know each other normally like many young people do. So I understand why everyone would say that. And also like with family drama, and it's hard for a spouse to choose between their partner or their family. So I feel like
Totally.
it's stacked against us, and I don't blame anyone for thinking that. Like I've had my moments of like, oh gosh, this is just not gonna work. Like, but then I remember like really commitment, and I want to stick by it. And I know that if we can get through this together, it'll be better later.
So, according to Olivia, they are not getting a divorce, but this hasn't been without some issues. And she even admitted there have been times when she's wanted to potentially leave because of the issues with his family. And I think the last comment that she's made where she said like she's thought about it and like she's thought about giving up and then she just wants to stick with it. Like you can tell that this has really worn on her. This isn't a healthy situation for anyone to walk into, and I wouldn't blame her for feeling the way that she does because she's entering into a family that's extremely unhealthy in my opinion, and they have forced her and Ethan into a situation where they aren't talking to her, they won't talk to her, they're making her feel like the bad guy, and that's got to do a number on her self-esteem. So while you want to support them as a couple, you also have to realize they are very young, they were very inexperienced when they got married, they both came into the world, into this like marriage with no very limited real life experiences. And so with that being said, like if it didn't work out, I don't think you could call it a failure. You know what I mean? Like I would say like we will hope for the best. We hope they stick it out, but I guess on the same breath it would be like, you know what, if it doesn't work out, like don't beat yourself up because there are some things that can make it so challenging to stick together for them. So who knows? As of right now, she insists that they are still together and they are going to work through this. So, but they've had a very challenging first few years of marriage. And then around the 1850 mark, she talks about what's going on with Mariah. Now, we noted that like a month or two ago, we noted that Mariah was like sort of like on Instagram doing photos of in Olivia and Ethan's home. And so that had a lot of us asking, well, where is she living? Are they living? What's going on with Mariah? And so here she talks about what happened with Mariah.
So, Mariah, everybody in that family is gorgeous. So, we see Mariah getting out, wanting to move. So what's the update of Mariah? It kind of seems like you two live together. Does she live with you guys? Or, okay. Yeah. And what is she doing? Does she still want to move to California? What's the update with her?
I honestly don't know. It kind of changes day by day. But back in December, when Barry and Kim moved from the farm, they wanted Micah and Mariah out. So Mariah moved in with us, and Micah moved in with a friend. And right now, she's just working 2 part-time jobs. And Mike is also like working here in town, so we see them quite frequently.
Wow. That's like, I mean, there's so much going on in real life with that family. I feel like we don't need the plot line. We need the story of how they kicked up their heads. Like, I mean, this is like, what is going on? Okay.
They just
wait,
no,
what?
Over.
Okay, so what's the truth with the farm, too? We've seen it on Airbnb. So is that what they normally did, was Airbnb the farm? Or has that been because of the show and they want to sort of capitalize that people can stay there?
Yeah, it's because of the show.
Okay.
They wanted to start over and move on. They put it on Airbnb and moved to town. So, yeah.
Okay, so are they raising their children the same way, like super, not talking to the...
It's like, it's weird.
Now, so you obviously felt what it was like when people had negative things to say on your Instagram.
talks to them because she's like trying to keep a relationship there with the little girls, and if
Hold
things,
on.
And they want to sort of capitalize that people can stay there.
yeah, it's because of the show. They
Okay.
just they wanted to start over and move on. They put it on Airbnb and moved to town. So, yeah.
Okay, so are they raising their children the same way, like super, not talking to the rest of the world? But then Mariah and Ethan, do they still talk to them, or they just totally kick them out?
Mariah still talks to them because she's like trying to keep a relationship there with the little girls, and if things are bad between her and Barry and Kim, then she can't. Yeah, they don't talk to me and Ethan anymore. They don't want to talk to Micah anymore. As far as like the little kids,
Did you hear that? So they have the farm that they purchased, that we saw the show on, because remember that was the whole like thing about the show, was that they were this like secluded family that lived on 15 acres, and like they were, they did everything together, and they were doing all of this stuff, and the kids had this idyllic life, and they get on the show, they get bit by the fame bug, they sell, or they start renting out the farm, they buy a larger home in town, which is in the wealthiest part of the town, according to Olivia when I talked to her. And while they're moving out, they kick out their 17-year-old daughter. What? Mariah's only 17. She will be 18 in August. Kicked out. And she's saying like she only talks to them because she wants to continue to have a relationship with her little sisters. But then Kim and Barry don't talk to her, don't talk to anyone. Don't talk to Ethan, her, or Micah. Like, imagine being in that kind of setting and you're like, what? That's like the most ungodly thing you can do. So you kick out your family because they don't agree with you and because they want to live differently than you? That's nuts. I feel bad for Mariah, but at the same time, I'm like, it's fine. Like, this is better, Mariah. But then what kind of support is she getting? And it sounds like Mariah's working 2 part-time jobs. Like, is she going to go to college? Like, what is she going to do? That's a lot for someone who's not even 18 years old. Now, she already finished high school, so I know she finished ahead of time. And then the other part of this was she talked about the aftermath of the show, and she had this part about how it wasn't good for her photography business. Now, if you remember, she actually is a photographer, and that was what her biggest thing was. And, that was one of the plot lines, was that Mariah was going to be traveling with her and helping her as her assistant. So she talked about that as well.
In the very beginning, like, it was, as soon as the show ended, it was really rough for business and stuff, because I had a lot of people like, oh, you're just drama. Like, we don't want to be a part of drama. And
Really? God, that must have hurt personally. Like, that must have been difficult.
yeah, it was. It was really rough for a couple months. Like, I was really depressed right after the show ended. And it just took a while for me to like find a groove again and okay, like, what am I gonna do? Pick myself back up, And like, it took a while for people who were gonna support me to come along. But I'm really happy with it now.
So she lost job opportunities because of her involvement in the show, and people thought she was too dramatic, or there was too much drama that followed her. I mean, can you imagine like what the wider world would think of if they were like, oh, that's Olivia Plath? There would be a lot like when you hire her then, because then it comes with that whole like, oh, she becomes the spectacle kind of thing. That would be really tough. I mean, she's a very, very, very like talented photographer. If you follow her Instagram, her photos are beautiful. She's also so young that it's super impressive like how successful she's been with this. So that update of it actually kind of made me sad. And then one other part I wanted to show you was about her relationship with the kids.
Include like laying aside personal boundaries and
Or with you and Ethan?
It's so good. I mean, look, I hope you and Micah and Mariah and Ethan get a spinoff where you all just like make a band and do drugs. I mean, I want to see, like, I really do. I think that would be the best show ever. And then you just hijack Kim and Barry's.
You would. Ethan tries whippets for the first time. Like, I can see it now.
viral.
Viral.
Yes.
Okay. Any plans in sight? I mean, Kim and Barry, I thought was very obvious, very difficult people, obviously had not done like a lot of self-work on themselves, was my observation. Do you and Ethan talk about wanting to reconcile with them at all, or are you guys just gonna kind of hang back for now?
Well, I think what everyone saw last year in the first season was us trying to reconcile at all cost. And that includes like laying aside personal boundaries. And what we came to realize was that you cannot reconcile with someone unless it's a two-way street. Like they can't demand respect of you if they won't respect you. And that's what we had to come to the conclusion of, is like, maybe it'll be reconciled someday, but not until it's met in the middle and we can't make up the entire distance. So as
Girl,
and that's what they've said. Like Ethan was over there the other day and he was like, you all don't love me because you don't love Olivia. And they were like, well, I mean, we love her and she'd be welcome if she would just change. And Ethan's like, it doesn't work that way. Like,
what?
so as of right now, we're just like, you know what, we're just going to move on, cut toxicity out of our lives. Like maybe someday, but.
Can you imagine? He's like at his mom and dad's house and he's like, you don't love me because you don't love Olivia. And then her mom and dad are like, well, we would love Olivia if she would just change. Because remember, Olivia told me that Kim and Barry think that she is possessed by evil spirits. And that's why they don't like her. And it's so they think that like she's a demon. And so basically, like, as long as Olivia changes and conforms to who I am, then we'll love her. Like, can you imagine the kind of stress that must put on Ethan? And if I were Ethan, I would be like, run as far as you can. Like, run as far as you can. This is crazy to me. I can't imagine as a parent, like, ever being like, I will love your person as long as they change to what I want. Like, that is so mind-blowing to me. Now, Bree asks, if they didn't like Olivia, why did they allow Ethan to get married to her? They loved Olivia. So here's the backstory. I talked to Olivia about this, and that's really all I wanted to show you from this podcast. And then you guys can check out the link that's in the description for the full podcast. But they loved Olivia. They absolutely loved her because when they met Olivia, she was still very much involved in this Quiverful movement. Her family was very involved. Her family was in a documentary called Quiverful. She and her family were completely bought in. They went to church. They were, she comes from a family of 10 kids. And Kim really sought her out and wanted her to date Ethan. And that's how she got involved with Kim, with helping her with her band website and with her social media accounts. And it was after that Olivia and her family came to this realization that the way that they were living, the beliefs that they had and everything just wasn't okay. And Olivia told me that she spoke with her father and let him know, like, I can't live like this. Like, I can't live in a world where women are treated like this. And she said that her father kind of like woke up and was like, oh my God, what did I get you guys into? And so her whole family left. And so, as her family's leaving, she's also getting sort of in this like world with Ethan, and they develop this relationship. And so it just sort of changed. And as she changed, Ethan followed. Because let's be frank, I mean, it's not just Olivia's fault that these kids are moving in a different direction. It's not just Ethan who's now left. It's Micah and it's Mariah. Their oldest daughter, Hosanna, is still in this cult, but not the three oldest. And the reason they don't want Ethan around the other kids or Micah or Mariah is because they don't want the other kids infecting the minds of those children so that they would want to leave. Because Kim and Barry are keeping them away from everything. They can't be on social media. They can't watch TV. They can't go to school. It's a very controlled environment. And I think in this day and age, it's like super hypocritical of Barry and Kim to want to profit off the use of television to become famous, to earn money, and to have social media in their favor for the show, but then they don't allow their kids the same breath. And when I was talking to Olivia, if you remember, she told me that Kim watches YouTube all day. And she said that Kim doesn't cook. Kim doesn't clean. She said that her kids do everything. And that Kim just sits around on her YouTube and watches and hangs out on her phone. So Kim, and she also said Kim eats sugar and Kim eats junk food, but like she doesn't allow her kids to have that kind of stuff. So, you know, the kids can't drink soda. It's like the whole family is a walking contradiction. They don't go to church. They don't go to any church because they've never found a church that adheres to their strict standards. What about Lydia? Lydia is very bought in and would not leave, as according to Olivia when I talked to her at the time. So yeah, it's like kind of like Michelle Duggar. Michelle Duggar doesn't cook, clean, or do anything. So yeah. So that is the update on these guys. Check out the full podcast in the description below if you want to see the full update from her. I want to wish Olivia and Ethan the best and know that even if they can't get through this, stick it out. But, you know, if it fails, you did your best. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anyone would fault anyone at this point if things did not work out. Kim is an absolute monster, in my opinion, and I would not want to be her daughter-in-law. So the best thing they can do for their marriage is to completely separate themselves from the family and move in a different direction. All right, you guys, I'll be back later with more. Tell me what your thoughts are on this update. Bye.